New American Liberty League, listen. I know I don't have the face for videos or the voice for podcasts, so the both of you that are going to see this, I'm sorry. I am D. Hearn, Daniel Leonardo Hernandez. This is my son, Emil Alexander Hernandez, in whom I am well pleased.
None.
In the notebook today, big topic, we are getting into our finale of saving our culture. In the news, we're going to go over Texas, that sad situation, the Epstein list. In the capitalist pig part, we're going to talk about what will happen with the market and the economy because of the big, beautiful bill. In life, we're actually going to get into something personal, my son Jason, and something Bible related. First, the big topic. Saving our Judeo-Christian European culture and Americanism, American values, American tradition. These are the fixes. You could talk about problems so much. You could complain about problems so much. Eventually, it's time for us to fix things. The big fixes to America's biggest problem, the world's biggest problems. Number one is, because it ties into everything, we have to get back to God. Every individual, every home, every country, we have to get back to God. We have to beat the left. Tying directly into that, we have to end welfare and the mindset that comes with it. We have to get back to survival of the fittest. We cannot continue to go against nature. We, the silent majority, we have to be more aggressive. We cannot continue to be the world's doormat. We cannot continue to get ran over. And if these things are to fail, if somehow we cannot do this as a complete nation, we have to be willing to get over the map and do what we have to do to save the republic, even if that means splitting our nation. The threats we're facing now, we are, as a country, as a people, losing our godliness. We are giving away and losing our culture. We are losing what it means to be American and Americanism. We have lost and destroyed our family structure. We are losing, which is a huge threat to our nation, capitalism and free markets. The threats all seem to come from the left and their mindset. Now think about those threats and problems I just mentioned, and think about the fixes I mentioned. And they all coincide. God fixes hearts and minds. How important is that family structure? Women, we need you to do better. We need you to be wives and mothers, and we need you to think about this and worry about this at a younger age. Before you give your purity away, before you ruin yourself for a good man. Getting back to God solves that. Men, you have to do better. We can't continue to have children that we leave. We can't continue to make families that we abandon. Getting back to God solves that. Getting back to God immediately improves the outcome of our children. So we have to get back to God. Now imagine the effect of this not only on America in general, yes, but in the black community. Black men in America are 7% of our population. They commit 50% of the violent crimes. Now, we always say you have to call out your own, and we agree. Why we believe this is not a color issue is because this is not the way black conservatives act. This is not the way black conservatives' families are. This is not so much a color issue. This is a left Democrat mindset issue. Black America, you have to get back to God, as all of America does. But imagine the impact on your community. The other fix that ties right into this, and I believe, yes, it will have an amazing impact on America in general, but especially on the black community, would be ending welfare and the mindset that comes with it. This is a mindset that has killed America, and it's been done on purpose. You end welfare. Get back to accountability. Get back to having to earn something. Take care of your own refrigerator. Take care of your own mortgage. Take care of your own retirement. It is time for us to completely end welfare and watch what happens when we do. Not only will this improve every American family in the mindset, not only will this keep fathers in the home, not only will this make women choose better men and let deadbeats finally die off, which is what survival of the fittest is. You have to be willing to let those that can't pass. The other thing ending welfare will do is completely dry up immigration. You want to save money on border walls and ICE agents? Get rid of welfare. Muslims, which happen to be a huge threat to our culture, they average 5 kids a woman. Now, think about the Democrat strategy of bringing people here, addicting their family to welfare, and having votes for generations. You wonder why there's an influx of Muslims in Texas, Michigan, Tennessee, all over these places, California. You wonder why the influx of Muslims? It is a Democrat strategy for votes. No different than what they did to the black community. No different than why Mexicans and South Americans have been coming here the last 20 years. It is to be addicted to welfare and have children. It is time to end welfare. In doing so, not only do you strengthen the family structure, not only do you improve mindsets, you essentially end the Democrat Party and the stronghold the left has had on our nation and our society for the last 30, 40, 50 years maybe. End welfare. Now, think about what that would do to our free market in our economy. We have completely got away from capitalism, what it is to be a capitalist, and free markets. We have, what is our national debt at, Emil?
38 trillion.
A $38 trillion debt. This is not sustainable. Getting away from capitalism is a direct threat. Ending welfare, our biggest entitlement, one of our biggest debt contributors, one of our mindset killers, will instantly make people get back to capitalism. It will instantly begin to reduce our debt and grow our economy. Then people can truly have more power with their currency, with their dollar. Then one male provider could begin to again take care of a household. Then women can again focus on being a mother and a wife. Then we get back to nature and survival of the fittest. Getting back to God, ending welfare, getting back to survival of the fittest. Calling out our own and the silent majority, no longer being silent, but being aggressive. All these things is what will fix our nation. All these things is what will beat the left as we currently know it. The white liberal is the most dangerous thing in Western Hemisphere. Not my words, Malcolm X's words. And it's 100% true. And now what could this look like? What could getting back to God look like? Get him back in your hearts and your mind as individuals. Get God back in your home. Get God back in our schools. Get God back in our movies and our music. And imagine the way America will change. Welfare. We have churches, we have charities. As far as government welfare goes, it should be for absolute short-term emergencies only. That's how you end welfare. Making life affordable again by saving capitalism. More time with your families, more time to worship God, women back in the homes. All these things are a direct correlation from making our currency and our money strong again. We have to get back to capitalism. Those are the fixes. Get back to God, truly beat the left, change mindsets, change hearts. And that's how we save Judeo-Christian culture, European culture, and everything it is to be American that we are giving away. We have to stop giving it away. And constantly listing the problems and constantly complaining about them is not the fix. We know the problems. We know the fixes. It's time for us to do. Emil, it's time for us to focus on the fixes. Tell me your thoughts on what I just said. Tell me what you do to fix the problems and what you believe your generation will do to fix America's problems.
Yeah, so I'm going to start by saying I think you hit all of the big topics very good. And I want to take it to more of a personal, like what we ourselves can do on a day-to-day. So when you say to be more godly, I think what that actually looks like in a day-to-day sense would be get into churches. Let's start filling up churches again more often. Get your kids in churches, because if they grow up in the church, that's what they're going to know for their life. When you're in the car, don't blast rap music if your kids are involved in, because then that's what they grow up knowing. And make sure that you exercise, make sure that you're eating better, because then when it's time for you to repopulate, survival of the fittest, you will be the fittest. You'll be in good shape. And in terms of what I'm personally doing, I go to synagogue every weekend with you. Well, technically it's online right now, and we go to Sunday church. Like you said, I'm actively trying to look for a wife instead of just hookups. I exercise, I try to think about my diet. Basically everything you just talked about. In terms of fixing the capitalist problem, I think cutting down debt would be a huge part, because then the market does well. And I think encouraging people to open up business again and start thinking for themselves. In school, we get pushed down this mindset of being a worker for someone else so hard that people almost forget they can work for themselves and start their own business. So if you teach your kids that and teach yourself that, at a young age you can actually work for yourself and create your own things, I think that's beautiful. And what I think you can do with your business is I think you can tie it in with God, like I think you can everything else. When you run operations, don't run operations through pure greed sense. Do it for the sake of helping others, and money will be a byproduct of that. And overall, yeah, I think that's the main thing for fixing the culture.
I think there's one other thing that you do, Emil, that you do personally, but I think your generation is going to be great at, as to where my generation, not me, but many people in my generation had to learn and kind of get over that hump, is that you are not scared to say hard truths. You're not scared to say what has to be done. You're not scared of the labels they're going to give you. You're not scared of the attacks you're going to get. And I know for you used to tell me this was a thing even in middle school, that you and your teachers would kind of go back and forth. So I think another thing you do personally that you didn't mention is you are not scared to call out the problems and do the solutions. And I think that's huge for you and for your generation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that just came from seeing you and I grew up. Which I think if you have one thing to gather about anything from this episode, whatever you do and however you act is how your kids are typically going to follow. So if you want your kids to be godly, if they see you actively going to church, they're going to want to go to church. If they see you calling out evil, they're going to grow up knowing it's okay to call out evil. If they see you eating properly, they're going to want to eat properly. Just however you want your kids to act that way around them. And even, this goes even not with your kids, but just people in your life. Something that we do is we keep peanuts and water in our truck. And whenever people come in our truck and they see us pass out peanuts and water to homeless people, they're always like, wow, that's a great idea. And we now know people that have actively started implementing that, who are just our friends. So if people see you acting in this godly manner, they will also start acting godly. Not everybody, but just imagine if each person changed the way 3 or 4 people changed their mindset. That makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. And we always say it. We say, you know, if you are one of these people, have one of these pages, if you're on social media, if you run a church, whatever it is you do, and you get frustrated about the 10, 20, 30, 40 people you reach, the 40 viewers you get, if in your mind you're constantly thinking to yourself, why aren't, you know, I'm saying good things, why aren't more people listening? Why can't I reach people? You are. Reach every individual, even like Emil said, in your home. If you reach 2 kids in your home, you're making a world of difference. If you reach 40 viewers on social media, you're making a world of difference when millions of us begin to do it and do the right thing. We cannot see our own impact when we're looking at it as just Emil or just Daniel. But when you look at us moving as a whole, when you see us trying to fix things as a whole, getting back to God as a whole, that's when you could only understand the true impact of reaching small numbers of people. You can't look at it like that. We are part of something bigger. We are part of a movement. We are part of doing something godly that may be God driven, God pushed. I can't explain it, but I feel like all of us are truly part of something bigger. We are truly part of saving our culture, saving our nation, saving what it is to be a Judeo-Christian. We are a part of that. Whether you reach someone in your work truck because you're passing out water and peanuts, or whether you have 1,000 followers, or whether you have a full church or 2 people in your church, we are part of something bigger. Always keep that in mind.
Also, whenever you call out things, sometimes it doesn't instantly change the person's mind, and what it will instead do is just plant a seed that will constantly grow, and then it'll change their mind. So at first you might call them out for something, and they'll be like, no, I disagree with you. But then they'll go home and they'll research a little bit, and they'll be thinking, and that's when it changes their mind.
Absolutely.
This also happens in groups. Sometimes you'll hear something and you'll debate with someone, and there will be other people around, and the other people won't speak, but the other people will hear the words that you're saying, and then you plant a seed in them. And what they do with that seed doesn't matter, because at least you got it in there, and they have the ability to change their mind and to understand.
This is why on social media I follow as many leftist pages as I do conservative pages. Yeah, I get on there, I talk a lot of junk, people talk junk to me, but I know once in a while I'll hit that open-minded person that's never been exposed to truth, and all of a sudden, like Emil said, just that crack in the door opens up everything. It's why I love to speak to atheists. Not that we agree on everything, and not that I don't respect the disagreement, but I know sometimes, maybe 1 out of 100, I don't know. But once in a while, like Emil said, you'll give that atheist that one seed, and that's all it takes. And don't be afraid to be that speaker in the group, to speak to people that disagree with you. It all truly matters. Saving the culture.
Yeah, I hope my generation is the generation that does it. I hope that your generation is the one that starts to driven us when it comes to politics to be more correct, and I hope mine ends up saving the culture because of that.
Just a thought. Two quick things. This, I wasn't thinking about it before, but I am now just because of the way the conversation goes. There's one possible threat to our nation and culture on the horizon. Will it be? Won't it be? I don't know. But it's possible it's going to be AI. That's going to be the topic of our next series. Another thing this makes me think of, and we've talked about doing this before, is an episode dedicated to Rush Limbaugh. That I believe was truly the catalyst on earthly terms to what's happening today. And I believe one of the most underrated Americans ever. So let's keep in mind, those are the two things we have coming up. Sponsor this half hour, the King James Bible. If you don't have one, buy one. If you have one, have two. If you have two, buy them for friends. Buy them for family. Actively read them. Learn them. There is ways. We will talk about it today, actually. The King James Bible. What an impact it has had. It brings the term Judeo-Christian. It is literally our Bibles. The King James Bible. Any variation any version is good. I love King James. So sponsor this half hour. The King James Bible. News. Emil. What's going on in Texas? I don't know what I want to say about this, but I know this. I know it should not be political already. There's people, not just people, there's children dying. The numbers get worse and worse every time I hear them. Why God does things like this, it's not for us to know. It's not for us to know. God's perspective on death. If you know a child dies on earth and comes to absolute paradise for eternity, your perspective on death is not ours. I don't question why these things happen. Maybe God just started the weather and it was just a weather thing and things just happen. Some of these things are too big for me, too big for any of us. And I don't really know what I want to say about this other than I don't want it to be political. I actually want to pray about this. So I'm a little different. Lord, there are things you do that we cannot comprehend. Please know that we trust you. Please know that we love you and we worship you. Please be with the souls lost in Texas, their families, those doing rescue, those that will eventually be asked to help and rebuild. Please be with them, Lord, as we know you are. We accept and we love your will. We love your Son, Yeshua, Jesus Christ. Christ, know that we love you. And in your name, we pray these things. Amen. Some situations are too big for us. They're too big for politics. And I think what's happening in Texas is, when you hear about the children and see the pictures, it's not political time. And shame on anyone that's made it so. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, this is actually one of the situations where I think people have done pretty good on not making it political, at least from what I've seen. Every news coverage I've seen on this seems to be pretty much saying all the same things, like this is sad, from both left-wing and right-wing channels. So I haven't seen anything make it political, which I think is good. I want to say it's very sad. The numbers keep getting higher and higher every time I check. I believe it was yesterday morning when I checked, the numbers were just at 60.
It was like 110 already.
And now this morning when I checked, it was closer to 110. The reason I believe this flood got so bad, at least from some of what I've heard other people talking about who were there, was apparently this flood happened at nighttime. And normally when these flash floods happen during the day, people are able to sort of see it happening and they're able to get out quick. But since it was nighttime, people were asleep.
Right in the morning, yeah.
So they ended up heavily missing it. And luckily for a lot of campers, their counselors were actually able to wake them up and get them out of their bunks. But there were a lot of people who that wasn't the case for. And for them and for their families, I pray.
Elon Musk, the feud with him and Trump still going on. He's now seriously talking about making a third party. The thing with this, the only thing I want to say on this is I think there's something that maybe Republicans and real conservatives may be missing here. I believe there's a way, if you were to make a party truly based on cutting the debt, being a national debt hawk, you bring those Republicans over and libertarians over, and I think what you do is you could actually end up with a party that grows the right and shrinks the left. You could bring some of these dead hawks in the Republican Party over, some right-wing libertarians over, and you make the Republican Party look like what it actually is, right in the middle. And what happens is you get the Fettermans of the world that are finally finding common sense, and you get 90s Democrats, which is what the party already is, to come over to the Republican Party. You get the dead hawks and libertarians into Musk's third party. And I'm not saying this is what will happen. I'm just saying it could. And over time, you may leave the Democrat Party only your communist and extreme, mentally ill left-wing people. And there's not enough votes there. There's not enough votes in the extreme LGBT movement. There's not enough votes in the extreme racist movement and everybody owes me reparations. There's not enough votes in the let's riot and burn the cities movement. There's not enough votes in what could be the only thing left in the Democrat Party. So maybe over time, if it were to happen and if it were done right, maybe over time it could be a good thing.
Yeah, I want to say the first thing I heard when I saw this party was it sounded awfully a lot like the Libertarian Party. But I actually think to some extent it's going to end up being better, because the Libertarian Party is split into two. There's sort of the left-wing side of the Libertarian Party, which does exist, and then there's the heavily right side, of the Libertarian Party. And I think the Musk thing just covers the right side of the Libertarian Party, which is why I think
we'll see. Remember, he does have some left wing, especially socially. But you know what? I don't think that this is where I think the Libertarian Party missed something. I think you can have both sides if, like always, you agree on the big things. Mm-hmm. What are the big things in the Libertarian Party? Let's get rid of taxes as much as possible. Let's cut government as much as possible. Let's get out of people's business as much as possible. Just make sure they have access to their rights.
And that's the big one.
Those are the big things. Yes. Is there a pro-life side and a pro-abortion side? Yes. Is there some of these things that get weird within the Libertarian Party? Yes. But if you look at them as individuals on certain things but agree on the big topics, I almost think Musk could have thrown his face and his money into the Libertarian Party and maybe improved it and gave it more organization.
That's also what I was thinking too. I'm excited to see where Musk takes this, though. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Musk the more and more research I do, and also as he ages. Because obviously in 2020, I believe he was still voting Democrat. But he seems to be evolving more and more, and I think it's great. I also want to point out something with the Big Beautiful Bill. The reason Musk started this party is the same reason that the Freedom Caucus was hating on the Big Beautiful Bill. All they had to do was cut spending,
somewhere.
And Elon still would have stayed in the party, and the Freedom Caucus wouldn't be having trouble.
With that said, a couple things that you just made me think of. There is a package being discussed right now that cuts $10 billion in government spending. More to come. We heard that Doge cuts are already up to $500 billion. In this bill coming up, it actually mentions and they vote on making Doge cuts permanent, which could lead to bigger cuts. So there's that. There was the other thing that you made me think of. Why people are so frustrated with Elon Musk and the MAGA movement is so frustrated with Elon Musk, and Democrats are the reason everybody is frustrated with Elon Musk is because we are no longer used to having individuals with individual thoughts that don't fit into the Democrat box, that don't fit into the Republican box. So I understand why some of the things he does and says and tweets, and what X's, I don't know what they're called. Some of the things he does frustrate both sides. I get it. But respect his individualism. I wish he went about things differently. Yes. I wish it was more quiet. Yes. But we can't get to the point where we beat everyone up that thinks as an individual. And because of that, I do like and respect Musk.
I think that's very well said, and I want to transition to our next point. One other reason I heard Musk started this new party was because of the Epstein thing that just came out.
Absolutely.
Apparently, there was no Epstein list this entire time.
No. I mean, it was on her desk.
And Musk was not a fan of hearing about that.
No. And it brings up a lot of questions. The Epstein list, Emil. This Epstein case, this started in Florida, I believe, because I remember when this was a small story, and I'm going back to, I don't know how long, but I feel like it even predated Trump's first term. I may be wrong on that, but I remember this being a very small story in Florida for a while before it was like a huge thing. How there has not been more information on this so far drives me crazy. When Trump and Patel and Bondi came in, we had hope. They talked about it so much. And now, sorry guys, nothing really to see here. Very disappointing. My hope is, I don't know. The thing is I'm not sure. Usually I'm sure where I am on something. I'm not sure where I am on this. Is there something in this list that is truly so devastating? We know the CIA's involved. We know Mossad's involved. Is there something in this list that is truly so devastating? Maybe it's better if it just goes away?
No.
I hate to think like that. Could it be possible that we are sitting the FBI and Bondi, DOJ, Trump, maybe they're sitting on something so big, they have to make it sound like they're letting it go just to make people more comfortable instead of hiding everything. Maybe give people that sense of comfort before they drop the big shoe on what they're covering up. I don't know. Or maybe, and this is a scary thing, maybe, and if it's not true, it at least gives the visual of maybe there is some kind of involvement with Trump that, and like I said, I don't believe that's true. I don't think Trump has that in him. But it's now, because of what's going on, it's easy to connect those dots, and it's easy for the left-wing media to connect those dots. So if that's not the case, something has to be said more than, sorry guys, nothing to see here.
Yeah, I think this case is absolutely ridiculous, and I was pretty mad when I heard that everything seemingly got dismissed out of nowhere. They also are trying to go back to the Epstein actually killed himself thing, which I thought was funny because there was a point where the entire, everyone was joking that obviously he didn't kill himself. But when we look at this, I think we at least have to be shown some sort of evidence because it's obvious something was there. It's very clear something was there, and I think this looks absolutely horrendous on Trump because he ran on getting this Epstein list out. And now when it's actually about to come out, all of a sudden it gets dismissed with no evidence to be shown for it. What could he possibly be wanting to hide? And my hope is it's not him. My hope is it's actually the DOJ or someone else trying to hide it, and Trump actually has no involvement in this. I hope Trump comes out and is like, hey, no, we're still looking for this Epstein list. But as of now, I haven't heard him say anything like that. And I think this looks like a really bad situation for him. I have no way to defend this. You were talking about some 3D chess thing of raiding for something bigger. He's just going to have to prove that to me because as of now, I don't see that.
Yeah.
And I think this is a terrible take by him and his administration.
If 4D chess, 3D chess is a thing, yeah, we need to see it. I pray that is what's happening here. But
this looks corrupt.
It looks bad. I do trust Patel. I do trust Trump. I like Bondi, which is why this feels so off. But at the end of the day, government is going to government. And no matter how much you trust who is in government, it's still government. And I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope that statement does not age well. But
I don't think we should just say that. That is a pedophile list of all of these top people. There has to be a way to demand that list. We cannot just be like government is government and let them sweep this under the rug. We have got to keep this in the news. People like us have got to continue to speak out about this and keep it in people's ear because the news is going to push this under the rug. And they're going to try to get it out of everyone's head. We cannot let this happen.
Agreed.
This is a list of high elite pedophiles that has got to come out.
Continue to fill YouTube. Continue to fill Facebook, X. We can't let it go. Because if we let it go, it's gone. See ya. Never going to hear about it again. That's odd. Fake sponsor this half hour. Epstein Island. Epstein Island, a beautiful, safe place, especially for children. Do your children not have anything to do this summer? Send them to the Epstein Island Resort, where no children has ever been harmed. There's never been one thought of trafficking. The safest place on earth for children, apparently, Epstein Island. Fake sponsor this half hour. Capitalist Pig, a meal. The big, beautiful bill. I believe a lot of people are being impatient. I believe a run from it will come. There's too many good things in it for it not to happen. I believe a run will come. Any quick thoughts on the big, beautiful bill and what it will mean for the market and the economy?
Yeah, so just in terms of the market, I want to say I believe the one initially has already come. I just believe it came beforehand by the rumor, as people like to say. The market is back at record highs, and I believe a heavy portion of that is because of the big beautiful bill and people believing it was going to get passed, so they were buying things up. But I do also believe a second one is going to come from this. It's just going to be months to maybe even a year down the line when these businesses actually start showing huge revenue growth because they're not having to pay as much on taxes and because government restrictions have been cut.
And people being able to spend more money, saving money on tax cuts, tips, no tax on tips, no money on overtime. So what you're saying is buy the rumor already happened. Now we're waiting on the fundamentals to catch up with the market, and there'll be another takeoff.
Yes, and I believe that takeoff is going to be for the long term, and it's going to run for a while.
And I believe it not only affects markets. Yes, it affects markets. Like Emil said, it's going to affect businesses. It's going to affect how much work is out there. And imagine a place where 6 months to a year down the road, construction starts back up again. Home remodels start back up again. These things have been quiet for a few months. Imagine when they kick into overdrive and illegal immigrants are scared to work. Just a thought. Listen, the big beautiful bull run is coming. Life. Two things I want to speak on. I think they both tie together. His brother, my son Jason, I talk about how good of a kid Emil has always been. Same with Jason. I've never had to discipline this kid. He's kind. He always seems to make the right choice. As he was getting closer to graduating high school this past May, about a year ago, he said he was going to enlist in the military. And Monday, we put him on a plane. He's headed for Oklahoma to do BCT, to do boot camp. From there, he's going to Arizona. And he's a godly kid. He's a kind kid, respectful, great peer for Emil, and a great watching his younger brother Dallas. And man, man, I'm proud. I'm proud, Jason. And man, I don't know what else to say about that. I'm proud of the kid.
Yeah. When he first mentioned it, I thought, man, that's a big goal. But at first I thought maybe he was just talk, like thinking about stuff to do. Maybe he wasn't really feeling college, so he was just throwing out the idea of military. But as the months went through his senior year, he started getting more and more serious that military was going to be the thing. And that's what he started telling everyone. And in my mind, I was like, yeah, it's good to say now, but I'm going to believe it when I see it. And yesterday, I actually saw it.
He's there.
So congratulations on that. And I think that's very good. Going to be very good for his future family, the benefits he's going to get.
And
he's going to go to college afterwards, I believe.
Or even during the job placement, all of it. And to everyone that's been a part of his life, some he's put there because he makes good choices and picks good friends and school friends and good church friends and a good church. To everyone that's been part of his life, this is for you too. His brothers, Shania, you did amazing. He's just, God surrounded him with good people. Some his choosing, some he was born into or given into, and some he filled out the rest of the circle himself. And I know those people around him now, with this new military family over time, is going to be stronger, bigger, and better. So just proud of you, Jason. The other thing I want to mention today, because God has been such a theme, and I've heard this from multiple people, especially when I was first getting into church, was about learning the Bible, learning the Word, and reading the Bible. And we always hear reading the Bible, reading the Bible, reading the Bible. I read the Bible once. It took me over a year. There's no way to retain that much knowledge in reading a book. Definitely not once. And what can you do it 10 times? And how long will that take you? A decade? And I'm not saying reading the Bible isn't amazing. There is something different about reading it. But what I will say is this. I'm in 2 Samuel right now. This is going to be my 4th time hearing the Bible. Genesis to Revelations. It's easier to find time to have it here than it is to have it here sometimes. Sometimes it could just be white noise, background noise. If you hear something that truly interests you, mark it down, and then you go to that section in the book and read over it. Max McLean, put in the name Max McLean All on YouTube. Max McLean All. And it gives you a beautiful reading of the Bible, King James, which is the most beautiful version in my opinion. It gives you a beautiful reading of the Bible in order, all 66 books from Genesis to Revelations. And like I said, just make it your background noise. Anytime you can, have it in your ear, in your car, sometimes even when you sleep. We have to get back to God, which means we have to know God, which means we have to know the Word of God. We have to know Torah to truly know Christ, to truly know Yeshua, to be Christ-like. It is one book. It is one book. We are one people. And when you learn the Word, when you learn the Bible, you start to realize that. You no longer see it as Old Testament, New Testament. You no longer see it as Jewish, Christian. You start to see it as God's kingdom, God's Word. And it is so important to know the Word. It's changed my life. It's better to Meal's life being part of that. It changed lives because it is that important. And if you're constantly saying, man, when am I going to find the time to read it? When am I going to find the time to read it? You won't. You won't find the time to read it in today's world. It's sad, but it's true. But there's other ways. Listen to it in order. When you're done, listen to it again. There's no way to take in that much knowledge. There's no way to take in that big of a book by listening to it one time. But I promise you, you could listen to it 10 times faster and over again than you could read it. That doesn't mean don't read it. I'm just saying don't think reading it is the only way. We have to be exposed to the actual Word more. You want churches that can't water down the Word? Learn the Word. You want children that have a strong foundation in the Word? Learn the Word. You want a nation that's turning back to God? Learn God. Learn the Word. You want Jews to realize that their Messiah has come and is the Savior? Learn the Word. Learn it. Any thoughts on that, Emil?
Yeah, I think listening to the Bible makes it a lot easier to digest, especially if you have periods when you're alone, either doing work or just in the car. You can listen to it on Bluetooth on the radio.
The gym.
Yeah, I do disagree with your one point in terms of there's not enough time to read it in the modern day. I'm sure you can find 30 minutes in your day where you can get away from everything and just read. It's just kind of tedious and it's hard to stick with. But if you're a fan of reading and you prefer reading over listening, you absolutely can find time and make the time.
Absolutely. Or a combination of both. If you have time to listen to 1 Samuel, but then at night you have time to read where you left off, do both. But the only thing I will say is 30 minutes of reading the Bible isn't going to get you far. An hour of reading the Bible isn't going to get you far.
If you do
it's great if you do it every day. Like I said, I will never say reading the Bible is a bad thing. I prefer reading it to listening to it, but I prefer knowing it to not knowing it. And the combination of the two, don't just not know it and don't just not learn it because you can't read the whole thing. There's other ways.
I also want to say, when you're reading or listening to the Bible, for one, you're already making progress just by reading or listening to it because your understanding and your knowledge has increased. But something that adds an extra effect to this is when you read part of it, think about how you can translate that into your actual life. Okay, I hear I can no longer eat pig. I'm no longer going to eat pig. I hear I can no longer eat shellfish. I'm no longer going to eat shellfish. But even stuff not like that, but stuff that's more like
Getting
married, or the way it teaches you to love others in other things that, I don't know how to explain it. It's different than just don't eat pork, don't eat shellfish. There's something else to it. When you learn how to love God and you learn how to love your neighbors, think about how you can implement that in everything that you do. The way that you walk, the music that you listen to. Is what I'm listening to godly right now? If not, probably turn it off. Try to figure out different areas in your life that you can apply the Bible to as you're listening to it. Because then when you get to that area of your life, hopefully you remember what you just read and you do it in a more godly fashion.
And you know the crazy thing is, this is the amazing thing about the Bible and the Word of God in general. The more you hear it, read it, know it, the less you have to think about it. Because those things somehow naturally become part of who you are. It's like it infuses with you. Does that mean that we're perfect? Absolutely not. I am a sinner. The worst kind of sinner. I am literally a first-degree sinner. Because I think of sin and I truly believe God. So when I sin, I know I'm going to sin. And I ask forgiveness ahead of time. So I'm not saying listening to the Bible, knowing the Bible makes you perfect. That by no means that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is when you're reading it, when you're hearing it, it's in your mind, it's in your heart, and it truly does start to become part of who you are. And those things Emil just mentioned, they sort of happen naturally. I never wanted to be married. Shawnee was a great girlfriend for years. I never wanted to get married. What changed my mind about that was the emphasis Christ puts on it in Matthew, and the emphasis that Paul puts on it in his writings. It was hearing it, reading it. It was that made me want to be a husband. The word is just life-changing. You have to take it in. However you can, you have to take it in.
Also, when you read it yourself, I think you get the added bonus of actually, reading it for yourself. What used to happen to me very often was I would hear people talk about the Bible, and I would sort of just trust whatever they say because I had no knowledge base of actually reading it for myself. So I was just like, whatever they say, I sort of have to go with because I can't argue against it. But there's certain things that you hear constantly that when you actually read it yourself, you're like, oh, I disagree with the majority of people's takes on this. I interpret it differently. So you get your own proper interpretation of the Bible instead of going off other people's interpretation.
Great point. Because your relationship with God, your relationship with Messiah is your relationship. It's yours. So learning the word for yourself, it's huge. Like Emil just said, it is a game changer. And if you are a kid, I'm not, he's not, more so than I am, but if you are one of these adults that grew up in church and you knew the Bible since you were a kid, so you don't feel like you have to read it, you know it, listen to it again, read it again. Like Emil says, take it in for yourself, and you may learn things that you didn't know were in there. You may learn things about yourself. There is no bad point in life, no matter where you're at, no matter how you grew up, raised in the church, not raised in the church, went to Sunday school, know the word, didn't go to Sunday school. There is no bad point in your life to learn and read the word, because what it means to you at 6 is going to hit you different at 20. And what it means to you at 20 in February, something may hit you different at 20 in December. And something is going to hit you different after you have children. And something is going to hit you different later in life when you're getting closer to death. There is no bad time in life to dive into the Word of God. And however it takes for you to learn it, just do it. Just do it. It doesn't have to be reading it. Just do it. My suggestion to everybody, Max McLean, all on YouTube. And that doesn't mean never read it. That doesn't mean throw your Bible away. That just means that's how you can consume the most of it. And in addition to read it and pick up the Bible itself.
I agree. And have conversations with others about it.
Always.
I think it helps you retain information.
Absolutely. And when you find people that know it, support them. Support good churches. Support godly businesses, godly people, godly pages, conservative people, conservative pages. Usually the two go hand in hand. We have to support each other. You want to save the culture? You want to save what it is to be Judeo-Christian? You want to save America? Find each other. Support each other. And we are the new American Liberty League.
Saving the Republic, one listener at a time.